Okay, so we're going to walk through a hole together. We've got a par 5, but I'm going to go through a couple of different strategies for you. Automatically, most of you would choose a driver, but there is water in front of this green. So can you get there in 2? There's been a lot of rain and even snow recently, so there's not much run. So can you make it onto the green in 2 shots? If not, do you have to hit the driver? Because we've got quite a wide fairway here, but is there really any benefit? Because the second shot, you know, it has to be precise as well. Whether you've got a hybrid or a 6-iron in your hand, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to sort of do verses here and see which comes out on top. All right, so I'm going to hit the driver first. Now, my shot that I want to hit is probably a bit of a power fade. I'm going to aim towards the tall tree at the top that you can see in the distance, and I'm going to try and hit a nice flat fade, holding it against the wind a little bit here. So there's my strategy. I've got my intermediate point, which is this little divot here. Now I'm going to match my setup to that. So my setup is going to match that flat fade. Does that setup feel like it? Am I braced? Am I behind the ball to sweep it off the tee? Does the swing feel like a fade swing? A flat fade swing? I'm not going for a big fade. Yes, it does. So let's try and execute this, or letting it go and execute. So there's my intermediate point. I'm going to try and do a nice wide swing here. Okay, that held on just a little bit. I probably started it a little bit too far right, and the swing wasn't the best. I didn't let go, I didn't let go completely. So when I'm evaluating now, where did I go wrong? I would say for me, I blanked out. I started thinking about what I need to film next instead of the actual golf shot. That's the truth. So that's probably why the shot didn't end up exactly where I want it to be. So the other option is a 3-wood here. We've got a nice wide fairway. You know, I went an attacking line with that driver to ensure that I can get on in 2. But the fairway wood, we've got plenty of room. So I'm going to aim a bit further left here. Got my intermediate point. My setup is here. I'm just going to go for a draw with this shot because that's what I feel comfortable with. So I'm going to do a nice smooth swing that's just letting go for a draw. And there we go. Hit the middle of the fairway exactly where I need it to be, in prime position. So let's see how they go against each other for the next shots. Here we are with the 3-wood. We've ended up in the fairway. There wasn't much roll, but I'm on a downslope. And as you can see, there's quite a ways to the green. Absolutely pointless trying to go for it. So what do we do next? We don't just pick up any club. We don't just nudge it forward. We have to be precise still to be consistent. Now, we have to adjust for the downslope. Now, we're going to cover that in another video. But basically what you want to probably feel is a little like you're keeping your chest over the ball just a little bit more throughout the whole golf swing. You're not going to, you know, really want to avoid standing up too much. So we're going to feel like as we're swinging through, where chest is compressing down to stay on top of the ball because we've got to like overcompensate. But anyway, we have a big landing zone, but we have to tell the brain exactly what we want to do with it. Now, I'm going to choose, there's a tree, hopefully you can see in the distance there, sort of pine tree at the end of the fairway. Now all I have is a 7-iron because I want to leave myself in with about 90 yards, that's the objective. So I'm going to choose that landing point. That's my line, but I've got a little spot of grass down in the middle of the fairway there that I'm honing my, I'm taking dead aim on that. That's what is happening right now. So I've got to make sure that my alignment point goes over that. Now matching my setup to not only hit that point, but to stay compressed and over the ball so I can be sure that I'm going to get a clean contact onto this. Now I'm just going to release over it, and I've hit my spot exactly where I needed to. 100% that where I wanted it to go. I didn't have to do a full swing. I didn't have to do anything extravagant. I just focused, taking dead aim on what I wanted to do and matching my setup to make sure I stayed down. I did that and we got the shot we wanted. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so we're back with the second shot from the driver. I'm on the edge of the fairway here in the first cut of rough. Not too bad, but as you can see, there's a ton of problems up there. Now the wind is circling around, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on. My lie is not perfect, but out the rough I can't really complain. But the shot I want to hit is a flat shot. That's the shot. And what I mean by that is, even though I want to make sure that I'm coming steeper on the golf ball out of the rough, I don't want it to be spinning too much. I don't want to be catching too much height out of it. So all I'm going to do is move the ball a little bit further back in my stance, but still feel like I'm able to come sort of shallow and rounded. But because it's back in my stance, I'm going to be sure that I get the ball first. So I avoid the rough problem, hopefully, but still get the height of the golf shot that I want. That's the strategy. I'm going to aim just a little bit left because the slope is hopefully going to give me a natural fade. So I've got my intermediate point. My setup to feel like I'm over the ball is correct. I'm going to feel like I'm going to really release through with a nice smooth swing here. And I got that flat, penetrating golf shot that's gone to about 10 feet by the looks of it. So we'll go up there and see what it looks like. So here we are with the third shot with the 3-wood. I'm tackling this a little bit differently. Instead of going with a sand iron and throwing it all the way to the back, I'm gonna use my 52 and just sort of nudge it forward and allow a bit of a, aim for the middle of the green, and allow it to run up and hopefully give myself an uphill putt, because if I'm throwing it all the way, it might spin back, it might go over to the back of the green, anything like that can happen. So especially coming into spring, not having played much, haven't got these shots dialed in whatsoever, I don't know the exact yardage, so I'm playing off feel. I want to keep this really simple, and so should you. Not just for spring, but all the time. Let's just give ourselves the best opportunity to have a half decent chance at birdie. So I've got my intermediate point, which is just here. I'm setting up to match that. My practice swings are smooth, so I'm not using too much hand speed. I'm just trying to use my belt buckle as kind of a speed generator, just to get me through to a nice fluid swing. So we go back and just clip it off the top, and there we go. And that did what I wanted it to do. So let's go onto the green. All right, so we made it onto the green. There's the driver ball, and there's the 3-wood ball. As you can see, they've both turned out pretty well. I'm very happy with the 5-iron from out the rough. I've got to repair my pitch mark here. Actually, I couldn't have expected a better result than that whatsoever. Now, as I talked about from the pitch shot down the fairway there, this green goes all the way uphill. Now, the pitch shot ended up exactly where I needed to do, but all of this is downslope. There was very little margin for error. But let's try and go through these putts. You can see the greens have been treated for spring, so they might not roll perfectly. But what do we need to do? We need to observe the land around us, so everything's rolling this way. So on the last 10% of the putt, that is going to have an impact. That's where the water is going to run out of the hole. That's what's going to impact. So I've got the line on the ball where I want the putt to go. That's my, objective. That's my strategy. And I've got my intermediate point, the same as the full shots. I'm aiming over an intermediate point, which is one of these marks here. I just have to keep reminding myself which one it is. So I think that should suit me pretty well. Yeah, so I've got my intermediate point here. Now my practice swings just have to feel like I've got this right distance control to send me over that? Does the setup feel like I can swing with freedom? My right arm can come through, my chest can rotate. Yep. So now I've got the ball line lined up over that intermediate point, and now I'm just going to try and let it go. See, it would have been in, but I left it just a smidge short. And that's the problem of not practicing enough, or only playing a couple of holes. So now the same here, it's a short putt, but I mean, this is not easy. I preferred that putt because this is on a big side slope. So immediately it's going to be breaking away. Now, something you can do to help here, it's a little trick I like to use sometimes, and that's actually on purpose, hit the ball out of the toe, just to kind of keep it up the hill just a little bit and not let it sweep away too much. So we've got the intermediate point. I'm setting up just slightly out the toe, and then I'm just brushing through to make it go in. But I didn't want to attack that too much, because we could have, if it missed, it could have ended up all the way down here. So in hindsight, we ended up with exactly the same score with both clubs. And it was a birdie with each one. And that's on a 500 plus, I think 530, 540 hole. Now, what would I choose again? I would choose the 3-wood. In the conditions today, I would choose the 3-wood. The 5-iron turned out fine, but there was so much more margin for error, but we still got the same result. So common sense prevails. Next time, if the course is playing anything like the same, we use a 3-wood, and we might apply that principle to another hole as well. Hope you enjoyed that, and it'll make you think a little bit more about what you're doing on each and every hole you play. Thanks.